Can you guys hear me okay? Cool. We're very pleased to be here, and thank you for coming. And I see we have some women in the room, so that's great. So we're here to present the talk on the build, measure, machine learn with Angular. We are from Wrangle. And at Wrangle, we create web and mobile apps that move as fast as your business. So I'm Anna. I work mainly as a business quality analyst, as well as an analytic consultant, and sometimes a Scrum Master. And I'm very passionate about data, visualizations, and also business, making a business sense. I go to a lot of big data meetups and follow the technology. Prior to Wrangle, I was at a big data project in one of the banks in Toronto. And prior to that, I was a member of the business intelligence team in Oracle. And here is Sumit.
So hello, everyone. I'm Sumit. I'm a software developer at Wrangle, working in Angular and most currently in Angular CLI. So when I'm not working on Angular, which is rarely a case, I am very passionate about machine learning and all ecosystem. So I play around with machine learning using Spark and Scala.
Awesome. So Sumit wanted to be here on the podium, and I want to feel like I want to be close to you guys, so I'm just going to stay here to support him. So the reason we presented this talk is the following. So we are in the web development domain here. And we create all of these websites with a lot of pages and navigation. So imagine if you know your customers. Imagine if you can find a way to figure out where they're coming from, what are their intentions. So by knowing your customers, you're going to get more organic conversions rather than paid conversions. And then imagine you can easily capture your analytics and also switch the analytic tools from one to another and also automate the processes. So all leading to creating more business value and saving the time. So our talk is a bit loaded, so I'm going to prep you for that, so be ready. So the way how we're going to do it, we're going to talk about build, measure, learn. Then Sumit is going to talk about simple tracking of the open source Redact Beacon library. Then I'll go to A/B testing and personalizations and why. Then Sumit moved to the machine learning. And at the end, we're going to show you the resource page with all of the GitHubs and all of the links that you can take the picture and do whatever you want to do. So build, measure, learn. So who knows about build, measure, learn? No hands, no hands, no hands.
There's
really?
one.
Oh, one, good. So, oh, two, good. Okay, Wrangler, it doesn't count. So build, measure, build, measure, learn. So we are building features, right? So we're building features, and then what we want to do, we want to measure the features. For example, we get the visitors, and we want to see what visitors do and if they like the features or not, right? So then we go to the learn, and we learn about our customers, we learn about the visitors. So what we do next, we go to the next cycle, and we'll build better features, right? If you can compare it like a recipe, when you cook something, you have a recipe, sometimes you don't have a recipe. You got the bad food, you don't know what happened, you didn't measure it properly, right? So that's the simple analogy. And in order to show you what we did, we built a prototype of the website. So what Sumit did, he created the app, and we're going to show you the demo. So right now, in the black boxes, you see the replication of the web pages of the Wrangle website. So any user can go and navigate through the pages. So services, process, work, resources, tag stack, and block. And on these pages, the users, they're going to be presented with the buttons in red. So we call them call to action. So what can they do? So they can contact us, Wrangle office. They can request an office training, or they can sign up for online training. So what we want to do, we want to find out who these users are, where they're coming from, and then we want to predict what they're going to choose out of these free call to action buttons, and we want to show them right at the first page or as soon as possible, so it's saving their time. They don't have to navigate through all of these pages and find out what they're looking for. So now here is actually the demo page where they're going to show you later, and you can see the underlined links in red. So these are the pages in red. And for example, you select the process, and you present it to the most likely chosen contact us call to action button. And now Sumit is going to show you how to use the Redact Beacon library to collect the data.
Okay. Thanks, Anna. So the most important part of any data analysis is how do I capture that data, whether it's clicks, events, page views, navigation, or anything else. So we do so in an Angular app using a open source library named Redux Beacon we created at Wrangle. What Redux Beacon does is it basically wiretaps your Redux actions and sends them to a target of your choice, whether it's Google Analytics, Google Tag Manager, or anything else for conversion and reporting purposes. Now, how many of you know what the conversion means? Raise your hand. Okay, couple of ones. Okay. So for those who don't know, conversion simply means converting users or making the users do what you want them to do, whether it's downloading an ebook or subscribing to a newsletter or anything else. So we are converting our visitors to customers or the buyers itself. And in the code over here, you can see I've created a Redux Beacon target and set it to Google Analytics. Now it's just, what it will do is, as I navigate through the Redux actions, it will send data to my Google Analytics endpoint.
So as an analyst, Sumit, I would have a question, right? So now you're presenting us, you can send the data as a target to GA account. What if I want to use something else? Can I change it?
Absolutely. So what Redux Beacon allows you to do is basically, we have a couple of inbuilt targets. It's for Google Analytics, Google Tag Manager, Segment.io, and that's it. So you can also create your own custom targets, which we'll do later for the demo itself, and set it to yourself. So sometimes just gathering the data is simply not enough. We may want to display a different version of a page to different users and see which one has better conversion. This is called A/B testing. We do so by using Angular's directive. In the code over here, you can see I'm just displaying the button if the feature is enabled. If feature is not enabled, I don't even bother showing the button to the user at all. Now, how many of you have used feature toggles or are actively using feature toggles in your projects? Okay, that's great. Yeah. So for those who don't know, just consider them as if statements. We display the content if a feature is enabled. If the feature is not enabled, we don't even bother showing the content to the user at all. And they are used for various reasons, right? Releasing canary features to the users or merging PRs or anything else.
And I see that you put the feature toggles in line the code. Is it always the way to go?
No, it's not that. Like, you can use some cloud services like Launch.ly or Optimizely to do the feature toggles. But for now, we'll only concentrate on A/B testing.
Awesome. Thanks, Sumit. So let's talk about A/B testing. So let's say we are running the experiment and we want to present our visitors, so 50%, like let's say we have a room, so 50% going to be presented with banner A, which is the orange color or red here, and the 50% are going to be presented with the banner B, the green color. And then when we run the experiment over time, we're going to see the results, so we're going to do the measuring part and we're going to learn, right? So what we learn after the running experiment, that we have 23% over 11%, meaning that the banner A win, right? So we got the winner. And we can do the A/B testing for different purposes. We can check the features, we can check the colors, the CTA paragraphs, and so on. Also, as an analyst, when I analyze the data, so this is the example of running the experiment using the tool, if you look at the right bottom corner in the green, you'll get the winner, 99%. But also what I want to know, I want to know my confidence level interval. So I can say 95% confidence that when I run experiment on the same sample size, I'll get the same results. What does it mean? If I'll take a room and approximate the same number of people here as my visitors, I'll get banner A as a winner. So the problem with A/B testing, when we do it, we get the winner. So we get A over B. But we don't know who are these users. We don't know where they're coming from. We don't know their intentions. We are not connecting to them. And that's what we want to know as an analyst in the digital world, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to my Google Analytics account, and I'm going to start running the reports, landing pages by the locations, just to try to understand my customers. And that's called personalization. So on this example in the graphics, the way how I want to show you guys, so let's say if you are located, so we have an office in Wrangell, right? So if you're located in Asia or in Australia, so you are in a far proximity from the office in Wrangell, right? So which is in Toronto in Canada. So you're most likely to click on online training or contact us. If you are located in Toronto or in Utah or somewhere in North America, you are in a closer proximity to the office in Toronto, then you are most likely to click on in-office training to come to the office or contact us. And that's what we want to predict. And as an analyst, what I will do, I will start segmenting my visitors by locations, by the data that I collect about them, and I'll start building the rules so I can build these predictions. And then over time, so I'll run my experiments, and then over time, I'm gonna build these segments again over the segments and rule after rule so I can get better predictions and see the results.
But Anna, generating those rules over and over, like, isn't that too much work to do?
Well, as I said, I'm a consultant at Wrangell, and I'm being paid by the hour, so I don't mind, Sumit.
Okay, but I have a better idea. So remember, in Redux Beacon, you can create your own custom targets. So what I have done is, I've created a custom endpoint to send my Redux Beacon data to a custom endpoint and saving that data into a database, which I will use to train a predictive model and do the predictions later. So over here, you can see a summarized session data for each user. So we have 7 independent variables, basically the pages a user visits and the country from where a user is coming from. And 3 dependent variables which are dependent on those, which are basically our call to actions, which we want our user to display. So we'll pass this data to a machine learning algorithm, which will generate a model to best fit the data that it's trained upon. And in this case, it's the session data. Now, but the question is, how does it know? How does it generate the model? So for this, if you look at the diagram over here, so you can see there is no correlation between the page 1 and a button a user clicks. Like, it's usually the case because when I visit a user, when I visit a website, I'm not going to subscribe a website just by looking at the first page. I would probably navigate a couple of pages and then subscribe after knowing more information about the websites. So over here, you can see there's a strong correlation between the page 2, but there is no correlation between the page 1. So what machine learning algorithm does is it takes these correlations, it can be hundreds and thousands depending on the data you pass, and generates the model, which I'll show you next. So over here, you can see the tree it generated, and you can see it branches out on the features like pages a user visits or country from where a user is coming from, and in the end, it gives me the probability of each call to action a user would probably be clicking.
So so it's called the decision tree model. What we see right now is a decision tree model. And if we compare a decision tree model with neural networks, they are similar and not. So the neural networks, they are represented by a lot of mathematical formulas that will take a lot of blackboards to write. And what they do, they are sitting inside the machine learning algorithms, which predicts out of a multidimensional data the best result possible. On the interface, though, the neural networks, they're very close to decision trees, and they look the same. So the way how it works, it would be input, our independent variables, and we want to predict the output, our dependent variables. And what you've shown, what you've done, it's very cool, so let's show the demo.
Sure. So let me show you the demo. I'm Just reloading, just to make sure that everything works. So, okay, so this is the page as we showed earlier. So at the start, I'm just mocking a user visiting from Asia and another one coming from Canada. And we have six links where a user can go, and over here you can see the prediction of each button getting clicked or displaying. And over here you can see a button that which has the highest probability. Now let me start with a user that is coming from Asia. So when a user first time comes to our website, we don't know anything about him. Like he just visits the page, so we don't show anything. But as he starts navigating through pages, now I can see he's navigating through services and process pages, which are like more business-oriented pages. So he might be a business person who may want to do a business with us. So what I will do, what machine learning algorithm tells me is that the probability of CTA3, which corresponds to the contact us button, has the highest probability. So I'll display that. But as soon as a user starts navigating away from business pages to more technical side of things like resources, tech stack, or our blog, he might be interested in learning or the training that we provide. So we show him the online training button. And in similar manner, so also now keep in mind, like I'm mocking a user coming from Asia. So that's why I'm showing the online training button, because he might not be able to come to Canada and do the in-office training. But what if a user who's in North America? So let's just mock another user. So if I click the set Canada, now over here I'm mocking a user from Canada, and it's the same thing, right? On first, we don't know anything about the user, like we don't display anything. But as he starts navigating through pages, you can see, like again, I'm mocking a business user first. It has the highest probability, and I show the contact us page. But as soon as he navigates away from non-technical to technical pages, he might be interested in the training we provide. But remember, like as the user is in North America and he's able to come to our offices, so we show him the in-office training button. And all this under the hood is making use of the Redux beacon library that we created. So let me show you the events. So as I navigate, between the pages, it sends the custom data to my custom endpoint, which I have, and which returns me the probability of the button that user uses. And that's it from the demo side. So just to recap, what we have done is basically, we have saved the analytics data to a database, converted it to a machine learning format, generated the model, did the prediction with the rules, and shown the user what we want them to do. And we don't need you anymore.
What do you mean?
Yeah. Like algorithms are doing everything. I don't need you.
Oh God, you don't need me anymore. Well, wow, that's quite shocking. You come to Utah and you're not needed anymore.
Yes.
So on that, I would say, okay, so you did what you did, but you only did one model, right? Yes. So as an analyst, I would say, let's go back to our A/B testing, and we'll get another model in place so we can get a second set of predictions and compare and run the experiment so to get the better predictions. And I got shocked, like he's so harsh, like I got goosebumps, wow. And also, if we go back to our description, we wanted to put developers out of the job, not the analysts, because who's going to analyze the data?
But machines can analyze the data. They can't write the code.
Well, neural networks right now, they can produce the images and the songs, not the code yet.
But still, what would be the inputs and output in those scenarios?
Oh, that's easy. So input, let's say, if you take the machine and educated on the GitHub as a resource for all of the code that developers that you guys put there. So your input would be the user stories, and the output would be the code.
Okay, but still they can't write the code, right?
Okay, let's go to the next slide. So here you can see the code written by the artificial intelligence. It is garbage, it doesn't work, but it looks like it was, it looks like it was written by a programmer, right? So in the future it could be done. And it was trained on the C source code. So theoretically in the future we're not gonna need you.
So probably like it's time for me to get lessons from you and switch the careers?
Well, we'll talk about that. And that's the end of our presentation, guys. And I hope we're going to stay in business and we don't need to look for another job. So we're not going to be replaced by the machines in the future. And for those of you who are interested in the Redux Beacon library, it's an open source. So take your time and take the pictures. So Wrangle put a lot of effort to make it available, and we'll start collecting the analytics on our projects and do that in the future. And for feature toggles and directives, so you can get that link as well. So for someone who is into A/B testings and want to find out what it's all about and segmentations, you can get the tools, Google Analytics, Optimize, Optimizely. For the artificial intelligence code supply, so you can get to that link and see and read it. It's very interesting. So the demo app that Sumit built, you can see it under machine learning demo app. And also we posted the presentation slides for you. So if you want to go over and remind yourself, they are there. And it was a pleasure. Thank you very much for coming and listening. And I hope you like it.